Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Photography Pubcast. This is season 4, episode 6, I believe. Christmas episode. We're all dressed very festively, as you can see here. Well, one of us is, anyway.
Look at them
Jamie,
miserable sods. All miserable. Listen, you're all Grinches. I'm the only Christmas elf in the room. I was going to say, I hope our subscribers take, abuse you lot for the lack of Christmas spirit and big me up for getting involved.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, you've got big ears in the background as well, haven't you?
Oh, actually, have I? I didn't notice that. Oh, is it big ears? Is it big ears? I think if you look closely at the face of Big Ears, it's got a slight resemblance.
Oh, it's me. Is it
to a Gary Norman? Yeah. Not that I'm trying to get my own back, of course, for last week.
Just getting your own back for last week. Yeah, it should be big belly, not big ears. Anyway, as you can see, Jamie's dressed up. What you can't see is we've got all our names on. So, oh, Adam's here again. Hello, Adam. By the way,
hello.
Good to see you. Couldn't stay away.
No. I'm still there from last week.
So we've got Stu, Darren, Adam, Sam, Gary, and then Jamie's called Jamie Elf on his little thing, which is
in case
great.
You didn't know who I was.
Yeah, just in case. Good to have you back anyway, Jamie.
Thank you.
How was your graduation thing last week?
Brilliant. Yeah, really good. Yeah. Proud of the lad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Graduated with a first with honours in publishing. He now needs to get a job in publishing. So anybody out there that works in publishing that wants to offer my son a job, then
I work in publishing, Jamie.
Do you? Okay. Well, we need to talk this out.
I'll give him a job.
Yeah. No, very, very proud day.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. Right. So how is everyone and how's everyone's week been? I'm not going.
Why don't you start with that, Gal? How's your week been? Come on.
Don't want to talk
Come
about
on,
my
cock.
week.
How's your week been?
Yeah, all right. It's been all right. It's been
You're such a knob.
Yeah. So I had a little procedure this week on Wednesday, which these
I
guys
can't comment, man, because I've got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
no, sorry, Gal. I interrupted you at least 4 times.
Oh dear.
I'm fine.
You've been hoodwinked there, Gary.
I've got something in my eye. Sorry.
I suppose I deserve this. I had a little procedure in midweek, and it was painful to a point, and now it's just uncomfortable. But hopefully I'll be able to walk again soon.
By the way, Gary, feel free to cut that bit.
Oh, brilliant.
Anyway, how's everyone else's week been? Who wants to go next?
Well, I can't follow that, mate, at all, actually. But yeah, I've not had a bad week. I took my grandson out to the Sea Life Centre on Wednesday, but I think he's now giving me some sort of 24-hour bug because I don't feel particularly great at the moment. So if I dash off and you hear me throwing up down the loo, then you can blame my little grandson for that. But apart from that, yeah, I've had a really good week. Better than yours, obviously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, clearly better than mine. What about you, Stu? How's your week been? Any fan mail or?
It's piling up at the door. Piling up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I felt for you last week, Stu, watching that. It was toe curling, mate, I tell you.
Yeah, I've not had a bad week. More dog sitting and a new drone. Yeah.
What drone?
I'll show you it again. That one. The A03.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I had the Mavic 3 Classic, but it's just overkill. It's too big. It's a pain in the ass to put in the bag. I always end up when I'm going out shooting, if I'm going to do any video, I always end up having to choose between either bringing the drone or bringing the 100-400. And most of the time I want to use the 100-400, but for doing these videos, as everyone knows, if you use a drone, they're pretty handy. So yeah, anyway, I couldn't see that much of a difference in the footage from the bigger drone, even though it's a 4/3 sensor. It's marginally better, but it's not going to change your life. So I've actually kind of almost taken a downgrade with the drone, but I think it's a more sensible option. It's a bit smaller and just lighter.
So what will you do with your Mavic 3? You keeping that, or will you get
no?
That will go.
I'm not made of money.
No. No, the only reason I
that's
asked is because I didn't know if, like, the picture, I know you're talking video, but whether the picture quality was a lot better in the 3, and you might think, well, I'll keep that for photography and I'll keep the Air for videos.
To be honest, I mean, I don't know if anyone else has got one of these, but the picture quality is better, but it's not. Again, you're talking about a 4/3 sensor against like a 1-inch sensor. It's not night and day different. The dynamic range is a little better, but I got that Mavic 3 last year with the intention of doing more drone photography, and I've had it a year now, and I've barely taken any pictures with it, and I keep having to remind myself when I'm out to use it for photography, and I keep forgetting, to be honest. So I'd rather just have something that's going to do the job for the video and just get out of the way, basically. So yeah, the Mavic 3 is going to MPB.
How much are you selling it for? I'll tell you what, I'll give you the same price as MPB.
What, you want one?
Yeah, I'll buy it off you.
Oh, go on then.
Well, because MPB's not going to give you very much, are they?
They do on the price, don't they? But
mind you, you'd have to wait until March when they come over. But yeah, I'll buy it off you.
I'll have a think about that.
We'll talk about it after if you want.
We'll maybe talk.
Yeah, we'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. I thought you could sign it, Stu. Sign the box, and we could.
That knocks the price up. That knocks the. Yeah, I was going to say that knocks the price up, doesn't it? If I sign
it. Yeah. Definitely. What about you, Sam? What have you been up to? Really?
Yeah. He's been practicing his Marseille impression.
Wow.
He failed. Need more practice.
I'm not sure you heard that, Sam. What have you been up to, mate?
I've been trying to sort my internet out, so I was having a little bit of a faff around. So I've just been smiling and nodding, but I've not been able to hear anyone for the past 5 minutes.
The smile might take 10 minutes to catch up though, because you're not smiling.
Sorry, guys. What did I miss?
We just wanted to know what you've been up to this week.
Oh, what have I been up to? Yeah, no. What have I been up to? I've actually nothing this week. I've been getting over a bit of a sickness, so I've not been feeling that great. And then it's just been busy week of work trying to get everything done before breaking up for Christmas. So yeah, no photography at all for the last couple of weeks. But the weather up here has been pretty awful. So yeah.
Okay. Adam, what about you? What have you been up to with your newfound fame of being on the Pubcast?
Yeah, I mean, I just be trying to keep up with emails. Well, last weekend was pretty good. My friend Brian came over, and we just spent the whole weekend locally. The weather conditions weren't too bad. We had fog, which was great. And then I grabbed the ferry over to Vancouver and met up with Karen, and we spent a couple of nights just looking at Christmas lights. So we went to, there's a public garden in Vancouver called Van Duzen, which was really great. And then yesterday evening, we went to this, do you guys get Hallmark movies in the UK?
No.
You get the channel, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so they film a lot of them in Vancouver. So it was the movie set, and they've set it up as a Christmas scene. So it's a whole town, but it's just a facade of a town. So of course it's just over the top Christmassy, and so we went to that. It was quite fun. Yeah. So that's what I did, and then I took the ferry back, and here I am.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get on the Pubcast.
I can imagine. I'll bet you were. Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And what about you, Jamie? You finished making all the toys?
Yeah, no, I've been helping Santa just get the last ones ready for shipping. It's quite busy at the moment, as you can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've been off this week actually, which it's been a right pain because I was hoping to probably get a day out or two with the camera, but the weather's dreadful over here anyway. I don't know it's obviously foggy in your neck of the woods, Adam, but it's terrible here, isn't it? So it's miserable. So I've been food Christmas shopping. I've been to every supermarket I think in the vicinity, all the cheap ones and the most expensive ones, because you have to mix and match, and you have to get sort of some posh nibbles and maybe some cheap veg. You know what I mean? So, you just go to the best places for the right things. So, Christmas food shopping this week.
Were you dressed like that, or did you wear
funnily enough, no. I went in my normal outfit when I went shopping.
Oh,
This is just for you. I dressed up just for you. Yeah.
I do feel bad because I did say
you did.
We should all have been wearing. Yeah,
you did.
Yeah.
You did.
And it wasn't done on purpose. It wasn't done on purpose just to make you dress up. It just happened that none of the rest of us did. No one listens to me, you see, except for you, Jamie. So
you should have put your noddy hat on.
Yeah, I should have done, Adam. You're right. Yeah, but it's
that would have
somewhere in Home Fair.
That would have finished
in a dike somewhere.
That would have finished off the ensemble just nicely.
Yeah, I can put my hood up. Look, is that better?
Oh yes. Yes.
Maybe not. And don't use that as a thumbnail either.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know I'm going to now. Did you like last week's clickbait title, by the way? They're getting worse, aren't they?
Oh, that was brilliant.
Did you see the title?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you like it?
Very good.
I liked it. They're getting worse. I mean, they're becoming less and less actually to do with what we talk about, and more come and watch the channel. Anyway, moving on. Let's we've got nothing really to talk about in terms of anything like competitions or anything. Oh, Dave's not here. I forgot to say. Sorry, Dave. Sorry, I've been preoccupied. I've had other things on my mind this week, but Dave's not here. We'll see you after Christmas, Dave, and I hope everything's well. There's not a lot going on except for we had some competitions now closed, but I just wanted to run through just a couple of comments before we get on to the main topics. And they're mainly to do with you, Stu, to be honest with you. No, it's very quick. It's very quick, honestly, I promise you. I won't embarrass you that much. There was one from Dave. Where has he gone? See, this is the problem. One from Dave Edmonds saying, I don't know if the banter today bordered on Stu love or Stu bullying from last week. So, and Adam, brilliant guys, and Adam said, and by the way, all the images were spectacular, so that was nice. We had one from Dave Hamner that says, I have a signed picture of Doug Scott and Dougal Huston climbing Everest on my lounge wall. Can I replace it with a signed picture of Stuart, please?
Of course.
So we can get
I'm sure we can arrange that,
yeah. Jeff File says, great to watch Stuart and friends. 3 things we love about Stuart. This is great. Let's carry on. He's an amazing photographer. He's got a great sense of humour, and he's sporting a lovely beard.
Oh, well, I'll take that.
Yeah, so there you go.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that was quite nice. And
I'm in the wrong place.
Trevor.
We all are,
Trevor
Stu.
Ronson. Trevor says, I think I'm going to start a Stuart McGlennan fan club. So anyway, they were most of the comments were about that, really. Yeah, let's move on from those comments. Anyway, moving on. Let's get to a topic. So, Daz, this is yours. You put it in the group about gear and consumables.
Well,
do you want to elaborate on that?
I don't think it's much of a topic, really. It was more of almost a throwaway comment. I was just looking for some lens cleaner, and I just scrolling through Amazon, and I couldn't just find the brand that I normally buy. And then I just thought, why am I hooked up on this brand? Because they're all pretty much the same. But then I thought, well, I started thinking about batteries, and I never buy third-party batteries. And SD cards, I only really ever buy SanDisk memory cards. So I just wondered if you guys are a stickler for what you buy, or whether you'd kind of you buy different brands and see how they get on, or once you've found something, you just continuously return into that product.
Yeah, it's not much.
I didn't think it would be, honestly, Gal. I thought, unless you guys have got anything to offer, I'm surprised you picked it. So I don't. If you guys haven't, I think we should cut that right out.
Nah, let's carry on. Let's carry on.
Zeiss lens wipes.
No,
we all buy them.
Yes.
Yeah, got a box full over there somewhere.
Yeah,
got one
Zeiss
here.
You got it's only Zeiss lens wipes.
And I must admit,
the only thing
the third-party batteries are. There are some good companies, but most of them are pretty bad. That I've used anyway. They don't last a third of the time. But there are some good brands out there. I know third-party batteries.
Yeah, I can't remember which because I've bought some third-party batteries for my M50 for vlogging with, and they don't last quite as long as the Canon one, but they're pretty good. I can't remember. It begins with N. It's not Niwa, but it's similar sort of word, and they're pretty good for the M50. When I bought my 5D, I bought it secondhand, and it came with a couple of third-party batteries, which are absolutely rubbish. But they're useful if you're just as that sort of emergency. But then things like the puffer for a lens, I've got quite a good there's a big brand, I can't remember what it's called now. Big brand that makes those.
Giotti or
that's it, yeah. And I've got a kind of Amazon cheapy version of that, and it's that sort of thing. I'm quite happy to buy something that's a bit obscure. If it's just
the rocket simple brush thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
There's
the rocket
branded
blower is a rocket
versions
blower.
of that, really?
Yeah,
just a bit of bloody plastic in it that you squeeze. What's going on with that?
Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like things like that. I'm quite happy to buy whatever cheapy thing I can find on Amazon, or not that we're going to be sticking any affiliate links down or anything, but that.
I just think that there are certain things you wouldn't compromise on, like obviously you're not going to buy a cheap lens, are you? Or maybe a cheap flash unit if you use flash, or maybe a really cheap tripod, or certainly not not a knockoff camera or whatever. But things like batteries, they don't last as long, but some of them are considerably cheaper, aren't they? When you look at it, I was looking at the batteries for my Sony, for instance. I think a new Sony battery is like 60 quid, maybe
more than that.
You can get, probably, and you can get these knockoff batteries for less than a third of the price. So in my book, if they last more than a third of the time that the other batteries last, then they're worth it.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of those, and also I've got I've always bought third party battery chargers. Like with Sony, it doesn't have a separate battery charger, does it? You have to charge it in camera.
No, I've got a separate battery charger.
But it didn't come with a camera, though, did it?
No, I bought it.
You had to buy it,
I
right?
bought mine from. Oh, actually, that might actually be a third party. That was okay, actually.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's a double charger USB, and that's really handy. That is, and I must admit, so actually thinking about it, that is something that I have bought third party, and that works fantastic.
Yeah. I just think anything sort of in the periphery that isn't directly involved in the photo, where the photo quality would be degraded by getting third party, then I don't really have an issue. But you get what you pay for, don't you? So if you buy a cheap battery.
And actually, I had a Fuji battery charger, and the thing actually caught fire. That was a
Really?
that was a branded one, yeah. Started smoking, pulled out of the wall. Yeah.
Oh.
That was a couple of years ago now, but I was really surprised.
One thing I was going to mention, which I always buy third party, is tripod mounts. So small rig L brackets, which are a fraction of the price of some of the more expensive ones, and I'm really pleased with one of those I've got. But also just your basic sort of Arca Swiss type tripod brackets. I've got quite a lot of those.
The problem with some of those Arca Swiss style mounts, though, is if you buy from different companies, a lot of them are slightly different sizes.
Yeah.
And then you end up fiddling around with it. So if you're going to buy a bunch of them, make sure they're all from the same manufacturer, because then there won't be any differences in the size. Because there are slight differences, and sometimes it's just a big pain.
Yeah, well, I've got a small rig L bracket for my Sony, and my ball head is a oh Christ, what is it? Oh, hang on, it's a Gitzo. So it's a Gitzo ball head, and the mount on the head has got a little screw coming up off of it, and when you put the small rig L bracket on, it doesn't fit because there's no space for the. Are we laughing because I'm saying screw and mount and ball?
No.
Okay.
You cut out.
I just saw you
cut out for a second.
You just cut out.
Oh, okay.
That was
That
came back
was a
on
good
talking about
coincidence.
balls and screwing them out.
Oh, okay. No, I was just saying I've got a Gitzo ball head, and the mount's got a little sort of knob on it. Can't avoid it.
Haven't you got the smaller one now, Gary?
Much smaller, yeah.
Have you got any pictures?
No one wants to see pictures. But no, it doesn't fit with the small rig L bracket. So you have to because there's no space for the little knobby bit to go on the. Anyway, it's yeah. So you're right. And
it's
also,
actually a good topic.
It's for you guys. When I had the old Manfrotto, the spring release one that Thomas Heaton had, and everyone bought one because of that. Well, I was using you bought it as well.
Until Stuart told me that it weren't Arca Swiss, which I thought it was.
Well, that's a problem. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I used a non-Manfrotto Arca Swiss plate with it, and there was a fault with the ball head, but also the clip didn't sit under it properly and ended up with my camera falling off. So, you've got to be careful with those sort of things.
Well, I made an offer on eBay this week for a really right stuff BH40. I bought the BH55 ball head, which I absolutely love. I really do. It's a beautiful ball head, that. And I saw that the 40, which I would like as well for going up the fells, because it's a bit lighter, and that was up for 325, which I didn't think was too bad. But I made an offer of.
I made an
offer of 200 quid. So I don't need it, but they politely declined.
You've got to think about ball heads, Daz, haven't you? How many have you bought and sold in the last 5 years?
No, well, I bought the BH55, loved it, and then sold it within about 4 weeks of owning it, and then repurchased it. But that's the only time I've ever sold something and then bought it back. The others I tried what you've got, Jay, and I think Stuart uses as well, like the geared head. Just can't get on with it. I really can't. If I'd done more woodland, I think that'd be my go-to.
Yeah, they're not for everybody, that's for sure.
No.
Did I see, Stu, that you might be doing a bit of a review on a Sunway Photo geared head coming up? Is that right? Did I see something on your social media?
They sent me a tripod, like the panel leveling plate thingy bobs, and a geared head. The geared head's quite a bit smaller than me Benro one that I've got. It's a lot lighter. Time will tell whether it's any better or not, but it certainly feels a lot more sort of comfortable to use, and a bit less sort of it's lighter basically. So yeah, I'm going to do a bit of a review on that at some point. But
I used one for a while. It's good, but eventually if you put longer lenses on it, it starts to creak. That's why I got rid of it. Yeah,
too light.
Well, it's just, I don't know if it's the gear mechanism wears out, but as soon as I started putting longer lenses on, and the longest lens I have is a 1-200 for the medium format, and there would be a bit of give in there, and I thought, well, what's the point in having a gear head if it's not going to hold it, right? So that's why I ended up just spending the money and getting what I should have got in the first place. The Arca Swiss are extremely expensive, but but for some, I use it a lot, so I need something.
Is that the
more
cube,
robust.
Adam? Is that the cube?
Yeah, it's so expensive. But I got mine used. But the Sunway Photo, I think, for a geared head, if you're an amateur and because I'm not suggesting that everybody go out and spend a ton of money on gear, because that's not going to work either. I think the Sunway Photo is a good head for someone that goes out maybe perhaps on the week, just once a week or once a month or twice a month. I mean, I think it'd be good. But if you use it a lot, it'll wear pretty quick. That was my experience anyway.
Well, thank you for that review, Adam, because you've essentially saved Daz from buying about 4 of them. Because if it would have been a good one, he'd have been straight down the shop and bought.
And I could just throw this one in the bin.
just post this video, Stu.
No, I think you have to use what you're comfortable with, and I just feel that I'm more suited to a ball head for my wildlife photography as well. I bought the fluid head, which is brilliant. That is such a good head for wildlife photography. But again, it's heavy. If you got to walk,
the Manfrotto.
Yeah, and they're relatively cheap. Well, they're not cheap, but they're not, compared to some kind of heads.
For a fluid head, they're cheap.
Yeah, but they're just so heavy. I love it. Once it's set up, it's brilliant. But I just think that for me, a ball head is so much more versatile. I can do everything with that ball head.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm really interested in that, because I was looking at the geared heads, because the Benro that me and Stu have got, they're not expensive, are they? What are they? A couple $100 quid, something like that. The cheapest chips really for a geared head, and they're not bad.
But they're pretty sturdy for what you're paying for them.
I heard they're really good.
Yeah, for value for money, they're really good. But I was looking at what benefit you get from going up to the likes of the Arca Swiss Cube and things like that, which are in their thousands, Adam, aren't they? If you bought them real price, which is an incredible leap in.
There's no benefit. It's just all sort of all for show. It's like driving around in an expensive car or a cheap car. I mean, they'll get you to the same spot, different times maybe. But no, I really love I love using the Cube. But I think they make another one called the D4, which is a bit lighter. That probably would have been a better choice, just to cut down on the weight of it.
No, Daz. No. Stay off Amazon, Daz.
No, get him to get one, and then I'll buy it off him second hand.
Yeah.
A geared head would be terrible for wildlife. Or if you like to move around really quickly, they're not suited for that.
Unless you're photographing sloths, in which case you're fine.
It's talking about gear though. You talk about value for money. The brand that sort of tends to be the one that goes to most of the vloggers for content is K&F, isn't it? K&F Concept. And to be fair to them, they're pretty good value for money, are they not? From if you're an amateur photographer, if you've got somebody that wants to come into entry level, which Adam's shaking his head, so clearly doesn't disagree. But but I'm thinking of a value for money, a sort of a little Aldi brand, shall we say? And what we're talking about with the Arca Swiss and the Sunway Photo and places like that, are they more of your Waitrose and your sort of Marks and Spencers type? Is that where we'd sit K&F? Not that we're sponsored by K&F, and never will be probably after this conversation.
I think the tripod's okay, but I'd get rid of the head and get a better head, because I the first time I used it up in the mountains, and the head kept jamming, and it was a brand new tripod, and I was so frustrating. I wasn't happy at all. But it was a free tripod, so I would buy a decent head. Like the ones that Daz is buying. I mean, they're very expensive, but you'll only ever have to buy one ball head. That's it. I mean, the really right stuff are awesome. They make awesome gear, but you pay heavily for it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, talking of K&F, I was quite negative about K&F, I think, on this podcast a few times, but then they sent me a filter system, magnetic filter system, and I had the Nissi, the one, I think it was a V5, the one that everybody had. And no, I mean, I like the Nissi system. I was really happy with it, but this one, you have to, with the Nissi one, you have to clip it on and what have you, and then slide the bits in. And the K&F one's a magnetic one, just clips on, and that's the one that stayed on my camera. You know, that's the one that I use now rather than the Nissi. And you know, so I was, you know, quite derogatory about KNF, but actually they're reasonably good. No one can understand what I'm saying. No,
we just
no one has
agree.
a clue.
Definitely.
No? Oh,
yeah.
Oh. I take it you couldn't hear any of that.
You know what you said about rebooting your Wi-Fi earlier? You probably should have done
something about Nissi and KNF filters.
Yeah, essentially that was it. That was it. That's all. Really
Where
matters.
are some of you lot getting your Wi-Fi from? Jesus Christ!
I got Virgin. I got Virgin.
Provider from frigging Afghanistan or something. Jesus.
I'm on like 600 gigs.
I mean, Sam, I can understand. He's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Wi-Fi, I'm trying very hard to persuade Hannah to let me do the Elon Musk's Skynet
Starlink
thing or whatever.
Starlink thing, yeah.
I like to
Dave's
call it
got that, I
Skynet,
think, isn't he?
Well, I hope. Yeah, it's quite expensive though, Sam, isn't it? That.
Yeah, but it is. But I'm paying £35 a month at the moment for BT, and it's 8 whatever it is, 8 megabyte download, less than 1 megabyte upload. So it's, you know, I may as well pay twice as much and have good speed.
Yeah,
we'll see.
You're there, Gary. We can see you moving.
Yeah, you're back now, mate. Yeah,
am I back?
Yeah,
I've just switched my Wi-Fi again.
Yeah, probably.
I was saying I get really. I've got like 600 megabit Wi-Fi. Like, you know, it should be really good. But did you get that?
Yeah. It's working.
Okay, because no one no one answers me. Well, now no one's answering me. I'm like, shit, am I still here? Am I?
Maybe if you stop moving. Just move your lips. Just move your lips like this.
I'm still here.
Oh, this is terrible if the host actually freezes.
No, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Right. Okay. So I think, have we covered that?
Yeah,
KNF
for shit, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, they're all right. They're all right because they still send me stuff. So KNF are okay. Okay, we'll move on then, shall we? Yeah.
Links down below.
You know. Okay, let's move on to another topic then. Let's talk about this one. I think this was partly Sam and maybe partly Stu. I can't remember. Christmas memories, or was it you, Daz?
Wasn't me.
It's always Daz.
Yeah, Christmas memories as a child, and then favourite Christmas presents as a child.
Well, I didn't put the Christmas present. It was more the memory that I put in.
Go on then, give us your memories then, Daz.
No, I think it's just an age thing, and I think, you know, there's a couple of you guys there. I think Stuart and Sam, perhaps especially Sam, probably won't remember this so much. But I think a lot of our audience, I think they're all about the same age, probably will. But, you know, I kind of grew up with, you know, 3 and then it was 4 channels. I mean, that's all we had at Christmas.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want to go back to them times. But growing up, my favourite kind of Christmas memories was always the TV, because TV was so special back then. You know, it wasn't like now where we've got, you know, where we can pause and rewind and play it whenever we want. You really had to make a time to sit down and watch a movie. And I remember my sister always used to buy. I don't know if you I don't know if when you moved out the UK, Adam, where you was pretty young, but we had like the radio times and the TV times, and that kind of go. One magazine gave BBC One and BBC Two, and the other magazine was for ITV and Channel 4. And sitting down at Christmas, kind of circling all the things that we wanted to watch, like, you know,
Indiana
Jones is on at 3:00, but then at 5:00 there's the Morecambe and Wise show.
Yeah.
They're the kind of Christmas memories that I have when TV was just a real special thing, you know. So
I remember they always used to play, I don't know why, every Christmas, The Great Escape with Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, but I don't,
yeah, some classic movies that was on. You could almost guarantee them to be on every year.
Oh yeah,
Star Wars, Wizard of Oz,
Star Wars every year. Yeah,
a James Bond film,
in music,
Scrooge.
Yeah.
Scrooge.
Star Wars. Well, Star Wars that wasn't even out when I'm talking about. So we're talking about the 70s here. So
But we still always
I don't
put
know.
things like Casablanca and It's a Wonderful Life and all of those things on, don't they?
The thing is, though, is now you can just watch it anyway. So you can just go and watch it on demand or watch it on the internet. Whereas back then, it was an event.
That's what I mean. I wouldn't want to go back to them times, but
yeah.
it was so special because
you couldn't get Return of the Jedi or whatever it was the rest of the year. You had to wait until Christmas for it to come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was like the Queen's Message. Years ago, when I was a kid, that used to be a big event. We had to stop what we were doing and watch the Queen, listen to her annual message. And, you wouldn't, I don't know whether you guys watch or whether you're royalists or not, but when I was a kid, we literally had to stop what we were doing and watch the Queen because it was like the traditional thing. You had to watch the Queen's message.
I think it was good.
Mm.
So is it the King now? I guess the King's doing the message now, is he?
I assume he will be.
Yep.
So what about you guys? What was your kind of memory as a child about Christmas?
Well, mine was always waking up at about 3 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning. Going, can I get up yet? Can I get up yet? And I go into so I'd live with my nan and granddad back then. I'd go into my nan, can I get up yet? No, go back to bed. So I go back to bed 4 o'clock. Can I get up now? No. And it's like every hour. And then it got to about every half an hour as it got lighter and lighter. And then eventually about sort of, I don't know, 7:30, they go, right, come on then. You can come downstairs now. I loved Christmas as a kid. Can't stand it now, Christmas.
Really?
I remember one Christmas we spent at Butlins holiday camp.
Yep, I've been there for Christmas.
It was amazing. It was one of the best Christmases I ever had. It was, I was a kid, and they had the big cafeteria. Everybody go for their Christmas meal, and I just remember it looking like Colditz. The whole place had barbed wire around it.
Which one did you go to, Adam?
I don't know. I think it was in the south somewhere by the sea somewhere. Yeah, I'm
Bognor,
not sure.
Could have been Bognor.
Yeah, it
might have been Bognor.
Yeah, it could have been Bognor.
I was pretty young.
Yeah, we used to go every year to Fweli in. I know it's not Fweli; it's like or something in Wales. We used to go there every year. That was used to love it. Not Christmas, but yeah.
I think the best present I ever got. Actually, my brother got it, but we both played with it. Was Evel Knievel.
Oh, that goes round the.
No, you'd wind him up and then you'd take off and do a wheelie.
Yeah, the thing is, I had Evel Knievel, but literally, I think within probably a week, I'd broken it because I'd overwound it, and you'd be winding it, and it'd go click, and you go, oh. And you press the thing and nothing would happen. And you wind it some more, click, 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 click. You're like, oh dear, I think I've broken this. So yeah.
I think my younger brother, he got a $6 million Man, so you could take all these robotics out.
I had that. That was so cool. Peel the skin back so you could see his arm. And, do you know? I remember that gal pulling the skin back. Do you not remember?
The good old days.
Memories.
Poor Gary.
I remember getting a Spectrum. Do you remember Spectrums?
Yeah.
A Spectrum 48K. I got that for Christmas one year. I love that. I think what games did it come with? Like Horace Goes Skiing.
Yes.
Yes. I love that. And there was another one which was just Breakout, just the wall one. You move the thing along the bottom and it pings the wall off. I love my Spectrum. Spilt copper soup on it. I had to go and get the membrane replaced. But yeah.
So I was going to say, I remember it's just next to the Spectrum that I had the first thing that you plug in at the television and you turn it into it had tennis on it. So you had literally three white bars. There was the bar in the middle, the bar on either side that went up and down like that.
Pong.
That was
Pong.
fantastic.
What was that called?
Pong.
No, what was the system called?
Yeah, I don't know what the system was called. It had skeet on it as well. I had a gun for it, and I could shoot a little white square that went across the screen as well on the telly.
Orange gun, was it?
Yeah, that's
orange
it.
Gun,
Orange gun. Yeah.
Was it Commodore 64?
No, it was before then.
Before that, it was like a sort of like a 15-in-1 game system.
It was,
wasn't it?
You literally plugged it into the telly and then used your telly as the screen. It's brilliant.
I remember after that, my mate had it was an Atari that had the cartridges. Like it was brown, like a mahogany sort of finish. You push the cartridge in, and you'd have two cowboys either side with a few cactuses in between, and you had to shoot each other through the gaps. Oh, brilliant!
Wow, your parents must have been rich.
Oh no, I didn't have that. My friend had that.
I was going to say
I wasn't lucky enough to get that.
But when I suggested the topic of favorite Christmas present ever, I think my standout favorite Christmas present was the Mega Drive, because that was the first computer game. Actually, it was the last computer game I had as well. But I remember I'd been pestered. It was just this amazing thing, because I didn't think I'd ever have one. My friend had a SNES, and this was 1991 or so, I think it was. So yeah, and it was just I didn't think my parents would ever buy me a computer game. And I remember coming downstairs on that Christmas morning, and there just being this box, and it was a joint present for me and my brother. And I remember just taking the paper off and just seeing the word Mega Drive and thinking, oh my God, they've bought me a Mega Drive. And I think that's one of the happiest moments of my childhood.
Did you have Sonic for that? Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah. Well, that's all it came with at the time. So yeah.
Well, Sonic the Hedgehog, I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's the first game I ever played where I just felt I wasn't in control of what was going on whatsoever. I was just pushing the joystick in one direction, and it was just doing, and it'd be like, and you've completed the level, and I'd be like, I've got no idea how I did that. Absolutely no idea.
You can
do anything towards it.
You complete it by just holding down the hold right button and then just occasionally pressing B, and you just kind of bounce through the level and get to the end.
I was going to say my Christmas memories were gambling, actually. My nan, okay, bless her heart. I used to love spending Christmas around my nan and granddad's, because they always used to play cards till early hours of the morning, and they'd be gambling on cards, and it would be, we're not talking about lots of money. That would be coppers they were gambling. But I think I got heavily into playing cards after my nan, and when I got my first job, I ended up going to the bookies every Saturday. I betting on the GGs, and I always blame my nan at Christmas for teaching me how to gamble and playing cards. So
I'm now destitute. Thank you so much, Nan and Grandad. I have nowhere to live. Yeah, and I've got massive debts. I've had to chop a finger off. I've now only got 5.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, so when you first posted the topic, Darren, I thought that it was, what was your favourite Christmas? As in, do you have a particular Christmas which stands out? And
oh God.
Okay. Well, I do, because there was one I had, and it must have been shortly after we moved back up to north of Scotland, and we were snowed in for about a week, so it was a white Christmas, and we had a power cut for like 3 days over Christmas Day, and that's still, for me, I mean, I would have been this was 94, I think, so I would have been 9. Me and my brother basically just had to camp in the lounge, because we didn't have any heating in the house. We only had the fire burning, so my brother and I camped in the lounge next to the fire, and we had snow, and the only thing to cook dinner on was we had a kind of camping gas thing from a caravan, so my mother had to chop the turkey in half and shove it into the gas thing, and that was our Christmas dinner. We just had 3 days of power cut, and it was
This is your favourite Christmas?
Honestly, this was my favourite Christmas, because it was just, we spent the whole time with candlelight playing board games, and I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I can tell you a sad Christmas story if you want, because I've had lots of lovely Christmases, but I do really clearly remember this one, and I reckon this must have been about 9 or 10. It was sort of early 80s, and my nan and Grandad had bought me this really huge. Well, it was huge to me. I don't know how big it was, but a huge polystyrene jumbo jet. Like, it's massive. It felt about this big. It was huge, great big thing. And I was so excited, like mega excited with it. And I was like, they said, now don't throw it about, because it's polystyrene, so it's not going to hang you. And I was like mega excited when I ran up the stairs and caught the wing on the banister and snapped it like on Christmas morning. So yeah, that was quite a sad experience, wasn't it? Yeah, I didn't have any happy times like I don't know, stuck in a house in a tent with no light and the dog dying, and I didn't have anything like Sam, unfortunately. So, yeah. Anyone else have a particular Christmas they remember really clearly, or?
I've had quite a few actually. I remember another time we spent a Christmas. There's a ski area called Mount Washington, which is about an hour or two from here. And at that time my grandmother was still alive, so we all spent Christmas up there. And we got snowed in, similar to Sam. But I remember we had to pick my grandmother up because she couldn't get through the snow. We had to carry her in, and then once she was in, that was it. She was there for the whole thing. I don't know, for some reason I remember that one. I guess it's the ones where there's things can go wrong, or there's hardship involved, or they're the memorable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. Has anybody done the classic when they were about sort of 18, 19, 20 of going out on Christmas Eve?
Oh yeah.
Did anyone do that?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! I remember we're going out on Christmas Eve. It must have been 92, so I was 19 or 20. And I went to this place in Peterborough. You might have heard of this, Jamie, called the Fiddler's Elbow. Do you remember the Fiddler's Elbow?
No.
It was round the back by the snooker club up the top end of town. And it was a real rock alternative sort of night out. And I was into all that. Yeah, I was into all that then. And I got absolutely hammered on Newcastle Brown Ale. Oh my God. And I remember Christmas Day, I was like, wake up everyone, come on, it's Christmas Day time to go, oh, leave me alone, I want to die. Oh, that was good fun. But you never do it now, would you? You'd never go out on Christmas Eve now. But when you're a kid, it was kind of like, it was a really good night out, I seem to remember.
Here's a question. And when was the last time you was drunk? You five.
Last Pubcast, I think, wasn't it?
Mine was a couple of Saturdays ago in Luton. Yeah. What a shithole.
Probably September when I went for a night out in Newcastle.
Yeah.
It's my once every 3 year night out now. So yeah.
You guys probably won't believe this, but I've only ever been drunk once.
Well,
really?
What?
Yeah.
And when was that?
When was that?
Back in high school. And after that, I said never again. So I've been tipsy, and I've been sick, but I've never been drunk like that. I said just out of control.
I'm the same, really. I think the last time I was drunk was I was living in Scotland, so it was between 94 and 96. Between them dates, that was it. That was the last
95.
So yeah, that's the there's the last time I got drunk. I'm not very good with that's why I drink Carlsberg. I can't stand getting drunk. It's hideous. Yeah. For me, it's just
You see, you're now talking drunk. I associate drunk with being merry, but you mean drunk?
Yeah, like hangover the next day. That's what I class as being drunk.
Okay, in that case, I think the last time I was drunk properly would have been, I went to someone's 40th birthday party, and I was just over 40, so that must be 10 years ago. And it was a friend who lives around here, and we went, everyone knew each other. I got absolutely wasted in this pub where she was throwing this bash, and coming back, I got out of the taxi, threw up in someone's garden, and then passed out on the sofa. And apparently, I don't remember any of this, but apparently my wife said you, literally most of the night, you were being sick into a bowl, saying you wanted to die. And I just woke up the next morning. No, that's not the last time. No, it's not. The last time I got really drunk was on the Pubcast. Oh my God!
Really? I don't remember that.
Really?
Oh my God! It was back a long way when it was Mally and James on, and it was in lockdown. And I was drinking John Smith's and Newcastle Brown Ale, and flipping heck. I come out of here. Beth had gone to bed because she was feeling ill. The two kids were up. I come out of here, made myself some little discs of French stick with ham and pickle on, and then literally threw them all up in the toilet, and then fell asleep. And then fell asleep on my knees with my head on the sofa for the whole night. For the whole night.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, that was a bad one. That was a bad.
We've had quite a few boozy podcasts, though, haven't we? I remember Dave once. Remember the time when Dave literally just fell off his chair?
His seat.
Yeah, that was hilarious. He was so funny. And when Dave gets drunk, his filters go completely, and he doesn't care what he says. He says it too. Yeah.
They're pretty much gone as it is, aren't they?
Well, so, you're right. Yeah. And we've had a few with Mally back in the day when Mally had a few too many ciders and had a lot to say for himself.
Honestly, every single Saturday morning, Mally would message and go, "Please cut this out. Please cut that out." I didn't actually say that, did I? Yeah. What did I say? Yeah. What did I say? Was it offensive? Can I have it cut out, please? Yeah. There was the one we did recently as well with the beer tasting when we all had to buy different.
Yeah. Do
you remember that one?
Yeah.
That was quite an interesting night as well, but I wasn't too drunk that night. So.
Well, we are in the pub, and that's what this was developed for. It's like mates in a pub having a drink on a Friday night and enjoying themselves.
Drinking Diet Coke, caffeine free at the moment.
How are you guys? It's Christmas. Have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the things I was trying to work out the last time I was actually drunk, like properly, can't remember things drunk. And I think it was probably when I was doing my PhD, and I used to go out quite a bit when I was doing my PhD. And Hannah's certainly had to put up with me coming home and passing out on a couple of occasions during that period. So, but I've not really done it since then. But actually, it's one of the nice things about doing the podcast is it's kind of it. When I was studying, it would be every Friday. The whole lab would just go down to the local pub, and we'd be in there for a few hours, and it was really good fun. And the Pubcast for me has completely replaced that. But without the passing out and the peeing in the bedroom,
and the fun. Yeah, can only apologise, really. So you went to Newcastle, Stu, and got drunk. Tell us about that story, because Newcastle's a good night out, isn't it?
Yeah.
From memory.
Yeah, it's a good night. I used to go there a lot when I first started seeing my missus, and we don't get that many nights away, to be honest. Now we have a lot of issues with getting childcare and stuff. So the odd night that we can grab, it's why, to be honest, you'll rarely see me drinking on the Pubcast, because I'm one of these people that I'm either drinking to drink properly or I'm not drinking at all. I'm a useless sort of just a social sit down, have a drink with a meal kind of drinker. So if I'm out, I'm out on the lash, and I'm out to have a good drink. But just having the odd one or two here, I tend not to do it a lot now. But I mean, I've got me bloody PhD in drinking from university and all that. So I don't. To be honest, I don't miss those days. What
kind of a drunk are you? Are you like a loving drunk or an aggressive drunk?
I'm a happy, pleasant drunk.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Maybe not that far, but no. It takes a lot to get me drunk, though. That's the problem. It kind of runs in my family that me granddad, I'd sort of take after him a lot in that, I've got to just. That's part of the reason why I don't drink that much, just socially, because I feel like if I'm drinking, I'm going to have to do it properly, but then it takes so long to actually get bloody drunk that, you know what I mean? So, I don't do it that much.
Well, next Pubcast, if you start about Wednesday, and then you can catch it. We can try and catch up with you. Yeah. What about you guys? I mean, Adam, it's difficult for you because you don't drink. But what kind of drunk do you reckon you would be if you were? Because everyone is a certain type. They have real characteristics when they're drunk. What do you reckon you'd be?
I drink. I mean, I just don't drink a lot. I don't know. I'd probably just go really quiet and then just go and sit in a corner.
Yeah, introverted. Introverted drunk.
I mean, that's what I do normally. So that's just an extension of that, I think.
I reckon Jamie's one of them. Are you an introverted drunk, Jamie, or do you get on the cheeky girls? Come on, you're there.
Yeah.
You're there.
No, I refuse to dance or do anything at drunks, but I do get very happy and very cuddly when I get drunk. Yeah, I like to cuddle lots of people. Yeah, but I also get very silly and do stupid things, as you do when you get drunk. But yeah, that's why I don't drink. I'll have 2 or 3 glasses of wine. I'll have 2 or 3 beers, but that's my limit. I'll never get past that point where you've tipped over the limit, and that's it. You have to step back, because we've all done it, and we know how bad it gets us the next day. And I hate waking up with a hangover these days. Absolutely detest it. Life's too short to have a day out with a hangover.
Yeah. Well, hangovers last 2 days once you get to a certain point as well.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
What about you, Daz? What type of drunk are you? Are you a happy drunk, or are you I reckon Daz is a bit of a fighter when he gets drunk.
Well, no, I must admit, I'm a room spinning and violently sick drunk. That's why I don't drink, and it doesn't take me a lot to get to that stage.
Right, but before you're there, so let's say you're in your in between. I'm totally sober and I'm the room spinning. I'm going to vomit everywhere stage. What's your characteristics?
I just think I get a little bit louder, little bit sillier. Yeah, a little bit the next day, a bit like Mally. What did I do? Start ringing round friends. You know what I mean? That I was out with that night.
Okay.
What did I do? Was I all right? That kind of bit paranoid the next morning. But it happens once in a blue moon, because I'm not a good drunk. I
think we need to get everybody drunk on the podcast. I think we need to. That needs to be.
I can't afford to be a drunk.
Yeah, liquor.
No, but
liquor's so expensive.
But a one-off though, Adam. A one-off on the Pubcast. Pubcast, do it for us. Come on, a one-off. Get drunk on the Pubcast. I reckon that'd be funny to see what everyone did.
I've got a pretty good selection of scotch, so I probably could.
There you go. Let's do it. We'll do it. Yeah. What about you, Sam? What type of drunk are you?
I'm a lover. I'm a hugger.
Are you?
Yeah. And actually almost very similar to Jamie as well in many ways, but I do dance. So, because I'm very, very introverted normally. So I can go both ways if I can go down the quiet road, but if I don't go down the quiet road, then I'm dancing not very well and hugging everyone. Yeah.
I'm the worst kind of drunk when I'm drunk. I'm the get drunk, and if I see anything going on, right? So if I see 2 people getting a bit leery with each other, I'm like, don't worry, I can sort this out. I'm drunk.
Oh God.
I'm going to go in now. Come on, guys, let's have a chat about this. What's the problem here? Let's sort it all out. Or the other thing I do as well is I'll get quite. Beth says I'm very arrogant. Become a very arrogant drunk. So there was one time we were out in Luton, and this is ages and ages ago. And I really needed a loo, and I'd come out of the pub and I couldn't get back in the pub, so I went upstairs in the Galaxy Centre, which is the thing, to go to a toilet in the cinema, and they wouldn't let me in. They're like, "I'm sorry, if you're not paying, I need a wee. Sorry, you can't come in." So I went back downstairs, went round the side of the cinema and had a wee, because I'm like, "Well, sod you then." And these 2 bouncers come out and sort of started having a go at me, like, "You can't wee round here." I'm like, "You didn't let me in. You get what you deserve if you're not going to let me into a wee. These are the things that are going to happen." And they're like, oh, honestly. And I'm not aggressive with it or anything, but I get really quite arrogant. So yeah, I'm not a good drunk in that respect. But we should all get drunk, definitely.
Well, so you can be arrogant.
We should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do. Oh,
sounds like fun.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? Oh, yeah. That'd be it. The end of Pubcast. Okay, let's.
Sorry, Gary. Before we finish Christmas, Christmas dinner of choice this year. What we all having Christmas dinner this year? Because I know that some of you have weird things, not traditional things, like Darren. He has curry and stuff like that. So what we doing this year? So you go first, Darren.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So if all goes to plan, which I don't think it will, but if all goes to plan, our Christmas dinner is going to be a chicken sandwich.
What?
Okay.
Right.
Because
on top of a mountain somewhere.
Exactly. We're hoping to go out for a Christmas Day hike, and neither of us are big turkey fans, but the closest thing is chicken. So we thought we'd have.
Well, I think that's disgusting, Daz. I think, do you know what? If some people can be bothered to lug a printer up a mountain, you should be able to lug a turkey in a cooker. You get a turkey in a cooker there, you vlog it, you'll make your millions out of all the views. You can say, can I cook a turkey at the top of a mountain whilst taking photos and printing it?
I am a lightweight, yeah.
That's what I'll be doing, certainly. So okay, so are you cooking the chicken beforehand?
Well, I'm not going to catch
it.
it.
Not going to have it raw. What I mean is, are you having a pre-prepared chicken from somewhere else, or are you going to cook your own chicken and have the sandwiches? And take them
whatever Helen decides she wants to do, then I just eat, and so
right,
yeah.
Okay, so stews, turkey, chicken sandwiches. Sam, what about you?
Turkey, definitely turkey. Every time, and I usually cook it as well. So yeah, half of my Christmas days normally spent cooking the Christmas dinner. I tried a goose one year,
mine too.
From Waitrose, of course. I didn't like it.
Not in a foie gras.
It didn't. No. So always turkey.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
It was only the gold range, wasn't it? Not the platinum. It just wasn't the same, was it? It wasn't the same.
Adam?
Well, the last few years we've gone out for dinner because the kids are all grown up, so we just can't be bothered to cook. Because my mum used to cook because they live next door. She'd cook just a huge amount of food and nobody would eat it. And she'd go, come on, eat up. And I just couldn't eat anymore. So we go out for dinner. But the restaurant we go to, they have these every winter. They put out these domes. They're like a tent, but a see-through tent, and you sit inside this dome. And one year we were out there. It was beautiful because it snowed. So we were sitting outside in the snow, and they got these heaters on. It was really great. So we've been doing that every year for the past 3 or 4 years. Yeah, it's great. I love it.
They've become quite.
I don't usually have turkey. I usually just have lamb because lamb's not that popular here, and I love lamb. So,
I like lamb.
I like lamb.
Yeah.
Half price in Tesco's at the moment.
Is it?
Just letting you know.
I'll be over in a flash. Send us some over.
Yeah. And Gary, what about you? Are you having your spam sandwiches this year?
Spam fritters.
No, I'm going to have chicken. We're going to have chicken. We always have a traditional, but we don't have turkey because it's a bit dry. So I'm going to have chicken, but this year I'm going to give the pigs in blankets a miss. I'll wait for everyone to catch up on that one. Chicken roast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Do you want to do the next?
No, I'll hand back to you now.
No,
I just want to take control for a few seconds, if that's all right. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. No, you carry on. Yeah, don't mind me.
Have you not opened that yet, Stu?
No, I'm going to have a quick look at it now. It's this is the drone that I should have bought, to be honest. I think that if you're ever thinking of getting that Mavic 3, just unless you really want to use it for photography, I wouldn't bother for the video. I just don't think it's worth it.
It's an overkill video. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's just overkill.
Is that the one with? Is that the one, or is the Mavic the one with the telephoto lens in it?
So there's
is that the Mavic?
There's 3 Mavics. There's the Classic, which is the one I've got, which is just a single wide lens. There's the Mavic 3, which first came out, which is the wide lens plus the super long lens, which is got a really small sensor on it. And then there's the Mavic 3 Pro, which has got 3 lenses, and it's got the reason I've got this is for the tele lens, the 70. I think it's a 17 millimeter. This shares that same sensor and lens as the one that's in the Mavic 3 Pro, basically.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. we looked at it.
Mm.
But yeah, it looks good. Although it is a little bigger than the old, because I had the Air 2S that came out a couple of years ago, and it's a little bit bigger than that. I'd have liked it to have been the same size, but I think it's got a much bigger battery on it now. These are like 40. Well, I mean, you never get that time, obviously, but I think it's 46-minute flight time on them now. So,
okay,
okay, pretty impressive.
But yeah, I mean, they've come so far, haven't they? Drones in like the last 3 or 4 years. It's just absolutely crazy, isn't it?
Well, I remember having the old Phantom, and Jesus, that
was
like a fucking helicopter.
My mate had one of those, and it was enormous, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, massive, yeah.
So you're thinking of putting video in your drone footage in your videos, then, Adam? Is that what you want to?
Yeah, I need to start doing that again. One of the reasons why I don't anymore is, well, there's a number of reasons, but the weight. It's just, it's somewhat limiting. I mean, I'm not getting any younger, and carrying all this shit is just too much. And the other reason is finding places to fly it. Like most of the times I flew my drone in my videos, you're not supposed to be flying drones in them. And it's fine if I'm just doing it on my own, but when you're putting videos out, people just keep calling you up on it, and I'm just getting tired of it. Most of the flights were, well, all of them actually were all eye level or low, very low through trees and stuff. So I don't know. And I usually fly them when there's nobody around, because I know they can be quite annoying. So that's one of the, a couple of reasons why I haven't been using it. But I know people miss the drone footage. That was my big thing, I'd like to start doing it again.
It definitely adds, doesn't it?
Oh,
drone footage definitely adds to a video. Definitely adds to a video.
But a lot of my videos, I've been really cutting back on the video because it just takes up too much time. I'd rather be out taking photographs, to be honest.
This is actually kind of quite an interesting topic. Perhaps we should just keep all of this in, actually. But I've been thinking just recently about getting a drone. In fact, I was only looking at it yesterday. I used to own, I think, like the original Mavic, but I never used it because I was quite a nervous flyer. And this was going back when I was kind of vlogging. And like what Adam's just said, I was always worried about pissing people off and, and talking about the weight and all the rest of it. And I don't vlog anymore, so I wouldn't use it for videoing. But I am kind of quite jealous with when I see some people's photos from a drone now, and you're getting into perspectives that you can't just get with a camera. And I think if I ever bought a drone, it would be purely for photography. It wouldn't be for its video capabilities. It would be to take photos with it.
Yeah. Well, they have really come on, drones. I mean, they're like, even if you go back to sort of the earlier Mavics, the new ones are so much quieter.
Yeah.
So I had a Mavic 3 Pro and Mavic Mini or Mini 3 Pro, and when that was up in the air, it got to a certain height, couldn't hear it, couldn't tell if it was still up in the air. The only way I could tell was because you're looking at it on the screen. It was so quiet.
See, that was something
so
as well.
Quiet,
like back at the Mavic that I owned, you had to use your phone with it. So it was almost a faff as well. You'd get the controller, then you'd get your phone out and you'd plug your phone into it and, connect it up that way. But now, from what I can see, you've got a proper built-in screen, That's
as I think Stuart's going to show us. Yeah.
See, that's what really appeals to me now. Again, it's a lot less faff. You just kind of, I don't own one, so, I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking now it's going to be a lot easier getting it out your bag, sending it up, bringing it back down and carrying on rather than, when I used to get it, it was like such a performance trying to plug your phone in. It was almost like another task almost,
And then it would always want to update right when you're going to fly the damn thing.
That's it.
Update,
that whole process took it could take 5 minutes sometimes with the older ones where you connected up to your phone and then you'd wait for the signals and it was a whole deal, wasn't it? I mean, I bought the RC controller, which is the older version of this one for my other drone. And the whole thing is like switch it on, knock that on, and it's like under a minute and it's up in the air. You know what I mean? So it's a lot less hassle.
Yeah. Must admit, I've always quite fancied getting one. I've never had one. And the things that have put me off getting one, well, the main thing that stopped me from getting one is Hannah. She won't let me buy one. But apart from that, it was the thought of how often would I actually use it. The main thing I'd want it for is if I'm climbing a mountain, getting B-roll in the mountains. But then do I want to carry it with me if I'm going up the mountain? Because when I'm doing those kind of hikes, it's literally just camera and spare clothes and food and water. And I never really fancied having one. So I've always questioned actually how much I would need it. And actually it's one of the things which I see come up quite a lot when people are talking about starting YouTube videos, is there seems to be a slight obsession about having drones and drone footage in it. And it does always look nice, but like it's never really been something which I've missed much. It's just been one of those things where I thought, yes, it would be nice to have a little bit of B-roll in there, but it's certainly not needed. And is it then worth having the extra weight in the bag and the faff and all of the messing around with controllers and things? It's been an extra hassle, which I've figured is not worth that extra bit of B-roll for me. But I would like to get one, and I'd like to get one with a decent camera as well, just to take some shots.
Well, it's like Adam said, isn't it? It's like, when it starts to deflect from the photography, when you can't be asked to get it out because you want to focus on your photography, then it becomes something that is adding no value, really. It's a bind to you. Feel as though you have to have a drone to take B-roll for a video rather than actually have it because you actually want to contribute to your day out, which isn't what it's about. I think that I was the same as Darren. I was a nervous flyer. I've still got the Mavic Mini, the small one, but I was a nervous flyer. I hated putting it up there.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, this is my money up there in the air. I don't know where it is. And then, as you also said about having the phone out and the rest of it, it's a complete faff. And all of that takes time away from the photography. So yeah, I haven't had mine out for absolutely ages. It's still sitting in my bag, to be fair. I always take it out with me, but it's in my bag. But I get the point what Stu's making about the fact that it's good for photography and getting those angles, and I think that's probably where it's ending up being of real value to photographers, is for photography rather than video. Unless your channel relies on you creating a film from your story, and that film includes having good B-roll, and that B-roll having video footage and blown footage and photography footage and everything else, then I guess it adds a bit more value. But most of us here, apart from maybe Adam and Stu, are doing it as an amateur basis and really don't need it. If it's honest, it's just another thing to carry.
I mean, I think it definitely adds to a video.
Oh, definitely.
If you use it kind of like quite sparingly as well, I think it really does add some good quality to a video.
I mean, all those things, even sliders, all that stuff work. I mean, all the ads, but it's just so much stuff,
Yeah, well, I found that when I owned my drone, as I said earlier, I was vlogging. But I just found it in the end, it was, if I got the drone out, it was carrying so much stuff. And then it was me talking to the camera. Then it was me shooting B-roll. Then it was me connecting my phone and getting it to work and then sending the drone up and then trying to get the photo as well. And in the end, it just become almost like a bit overpowering for me to try and go out for a morning or an afternoon. And I wasn't really enjoying it too much. There was so much to constantly think of, and do to put this video together. That's what I used to. I've probably done it about 10 times. Carried the drone up to the top of a fell, carried it back down, and didn't even get it out of the bag. And it wasn't just the drone; it was like a spare battery as well, maybe 2 spare batteries. So I thought, no, it's got to go. Yeah. But I'd like to get one now purely for the camera.
I've got an Inspire you could buy if you want.
That's a big one, isn't it? The Inspire. Yeah. You could send it over.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, right. Make me an offer. Make me an offer.
You could come over on it.
just hold it on.
Yeah.
Here comes Gibbs.
That was my first drone was an Inspire, and my whole intent was, oh yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna take all these aerial shots. The thing is just a huge pain in the ass. I mean, even to carry it was just a pain in the ass, and I never used it, so it was just a big waste of money. So there it sits, and of course it's the first one, so now it's old tech, so nobody wants it, So I'm stuck with this really expensive old drone. So I think I might just put it on eBay or Craigslist and say, well, make me an offer, I'll take whatever you want to give me. Yeah.
You heard it here first.
There you go. Make me an offer.
Yeah. There you go. And if no one does, we might put it up as first prize in the photo competition.
There you go.
Adam doesn't know that yet, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll be fine with it. He'll be all right.
You just have to pay for the postage. Even comes with a special backpack that I've never used.
Backpack, brilliant. Bloody hell!
Yeah, Low Pro made a backpack for the Inspire.
Wow!
So the legs kind of stick out, and I never used it. I didn't use it once. It was such a waste of money.
But that's a good look.
Yeah, these legs sticking out your back.
Yes. I think you've kidnapped a small child.
Yeah,
that could be a topic one day. Actually, not now because I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But
have you kidnapped a small child?
But what have we bought that we've hardly ever used?
Ball heads.
Yeah. So
drones.
What have we bought that we've sold that we've rebought and then sold and then rebought and then sold and rebought again? That could be
or all the things that you've bought because you convince yourself that you really need them, but you don't actually need them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I got a whole closet full of shit back there. Just have a big garage sale. Tripods
coming up.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know perhaps not talking about it, but I can think of now. This is ridiculous. When I was shooting Canon, I bought the 24 to 70. So I owned the 24 to 105 and I bought the 24 to 70.
Makes sense.
Because I thought that would be sharper. Never got on with the 24 to 70 at all because it just didn't give me enough reach. So when I moved over to Sony, what did I buy? I bought the 24 to 70 and the 24 to 105.
What?
Stu, don't, because I can't get it. The face that you just...
I had this conversation with you when you were up in the lakes.
I know. I don't know why I do these things, but I do. So, yeah. So I have bought a 24 to 70 Canon and sold it because I couldn't get on with it. And then I bought the 24 to 70 Sony, sold it because I couldn't get on with it.
Wow.
There's a pattern there.
So if anybody wants any camera advice, do not come to me.
So going back to what you said a little bit earlier, Daz, you said you stopped vlogging, right? Didn't you? You said because I've stopped vlogging, right? So this leads us into a question that we had from Lynn Luxon Jones. Hello, Lynn. Hope you're well. She said, possible subject for the podcast, just in case Darren runs out of ideas, as if Darren would ever run out of ideas. But she said, are the smaller channels giving up on vlogging? Because she says when she does a search for a landscape photographer in the UK for videos to add at the end of her screen or on her end screen, she's only getting the big hitters now. So, I mean, I've noticed a lot of people, I've noticed a lot of people drop off recently who've been vlogging for quite a long time. Do you think there's a shelf life? Do you think it's... do you think YouTube's making it harder, or do you just think that people have just lost interest?
Well, Stuart done a good video on this, Stu, didn't you? So perhaps you want to lead the way on this.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there's maybe an element of maybe there is a sort of saturation point with anything really, Maybe we've reached that on YouTube. I don't know. I think there was a lot of people probably were watching through lockdown as well. when it was more of like a sort of captive audience. And maybe that's had a bit of an effect after, the world's gone back to normal and maybe less people are watching. I don't know. The crux of my video, I mean, I wasn't sort of, it was more directed more at the way that the platform works, and, with it being very algorithm based, and it's hard to know whether the creators are pushing the algorithm or the algorithm is pushing the creators. I don't know, but I think it's tricky for me to have a sort of well-informed opinion on this, because I don't feel like I've been doing YouTube probably all that long. But from what I see from people sort of talking online and stuff, is that, for newer creators, it's probably a lot harder now to maybe, build an audience on there than it maybe used to be. I don't know. But as I say, I wasn't on there years ago, so it's hard for me to kind of comment on that, because, I've only got the last 3 years worth of sort of experience to go off, really. But I don't know. I mean, maybe they are dropping off. I don't know, but I think it maybe has more to do with maybe there's just less interest in the genre now. I don't know.
Oh, well, I was going to come and say, so I think you get different types of channel, and there's quite a few small channels and relatively new channels as well, which I mean, I don't watch a lot of YouTube. I just don't have the time, to be honest, to watch much of it. But there are a few channels which I sort of dip in and out of every now and again, some very small and new channels as well. There's a guy I've just started watching his, I think he started fairly recently. He's based up in Assen, and he's got some really nice videos. And the smaller channels are there. I guess some of them are. It's kind of divided into two groups. You have some channels where their intention is to try and grow the channel, and I think when that tends to be the case at the moment, because it's very saturated, they don't manage to make the headway, and so they'll quickly become disenchanted with it. But there's still quite a few small channels out there, and I'd probably class my own in that group as well, of people who are still out there making content when they feel like it, because they do it because they enjoy doing it, and they're still going. And there's quite a few channels that I still follow that are still there generating content, but they might not come up in their searches because they're not interested in hitting the key terms, and they're always hitting the landscape photography video sort of key terms that people are searching for, but they're just ticking along and doing their own videos when they feel like doing them. So I don't think it's so much that they're not there. I think that it's that there are some channels which are ticking along and will do it, and they might have an 8 or 9 month break like I do from time to time and just don't worry about it. But then you've also got the channels where maybe if they've become dissatisfied because they're not able to get rapid growth, and then they'll drop off. So it's kind of two different sort of camps. But there's certainly some brilliant small channels out there who are still active and are still posting stuff. They're just harder for people to find. But if you search for them, and if you're quite specific in your searches, you can find some real gems out there. And there's some brilliant people doing some fantastic photography and great videos out there too, who don't have big followings. I wouldn't class myself in that group, by the way. But...
What, you think you've got a big following? Is that what you
No, saying? I was saying I don't have. I've got some dodgy content, and I've not got a big.
You should
following.
have. To be fair, you should have a big following. His photography and video is brilliant. Yeah. So.
But
that was the main purpose. I was just looking for compliments to come in from you guys. So thank you.
Is that the same thing though? Are there less doing it, or was that what the question was, Gary? Is there less?
Yeah. I think smaller channels giving up, and I think they are. I think people are giving up, because there's a lot of people who started around the time that I did that are no longer here, no longer doing it, and I think that I think the reason for it is if I look at a lot of the bigger channels now, and they're not the same as they were when they started, so they've had to adapt to survive, if you like, adapt to grow. They've changed their style. They've changed not totally. They haven't changed the genre, and they haven't changed a lot about them, but they've changed their style. They've changed their format. They've changed what they put out. They've changed the way they put it out. And I think that if you're big, you've had to do that, because you can only take. Look, I've been doing it for what, 6 years now, over 6 years, and you get to a point where you're just like, this is just the same shit in a different location. I'm just doing it, and I do enjoy it. I've never been one to do it because I wanted to grow big. I've always wanted to do it because I enjoy it. But it does get a point when you're sitting there editing a video from somewhere and you go, this feels very familiar. I've done this before many, many times, even though it's in a different location, and you get bored with yourself, which is why when I always try and do something new. That's why I started doing Street. That's why I started doing the interview thing that I was doing. That's why I started doing this, I guess, because I wanted to do different things to sort of diversify out. But and I think eventually, if you don't do that, and you're not getting traction, you can just go, oh, I'm bored with it now. Just, I've reached a point where I can't do anything else, so I'm just going to stop.
But I think also that, and this probably ties in with one of the other topics that was suggested, is that I think some people, and I've certainly felt this as well, some people get stressed if they're not putting videos out regularly. And if you're trying to grow a channel, then maybe there's an argument for trying to be consistent with it. I know, if you want to tick all the boxes for growing a channel, that's something you should do. But I mean, from my experience, this year I had 9 months where I just didn't put a video out because I didn't feel like putting a video out. And then all of a sudden, I've started putting videos out again recently, and I've accidentally been doing weekly videos. There was never an intention to do that, but I've just been enjoying it. But I've been enjoying it because I had 9 months off when I wasn't doing videos, and I'll probably have another 8 months off next year, but I won't worry about it. So I think there's also, tying in with the other topic we were suggesting, is sometimes it's just good to have a bit of a break. If things are becoming monotonous and you find you're just in a routine doing the same thing over and over again, which I do when I do videos, it's good to have a little bit of a break. And if you're not trying to grow the channel, then that makes it more fun, because you do it because you're enjoying it, and you find you enjoy making the videos a lot more.
Yeah.
Well, Daz, you've stopped. So why? I mean, at the moment, your intention is not to do any more. Is that
no? I will do, and I in fact, there's sometimes I quite miss it. I think we spoke last week about the Pubcast, that I kind of regret not vlogging my hikes. Which was the whole reason I started vlogging in the beginning, was to kind of document my little kind of trips here and there. So no, I think I will pick it up again at some stage, but almost like to echo Sam, really, I found it, and you, Gary, I found it a little bit kind of monotonous after a while. And again, without boring everybody, I don't find my own area particularly kind of, inspiring. So then I found that when I was going to the lakes, then it became, right, I'm going to the Lake District, I want to do photography, I've got to get a video in. And it just became, I don't know, too much like pre-planned the whole time, rather than me going out and actually enjoying it. It then became kind of regimented. Right, I'm going away in a couple of weeks, and when I go away, I've got to get photos, I've got to do a video, and So I think I might
because you
go
feel
back.
like because you feel like you just want to go up there and just enjoy yourself taking photographs,
Exactly.
right? Instead of all the video stuff,
Yeah.
because that's just an extra layer that, unless you really enjoy it, then there's not much point in doing it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There isn't. I mean, obviously I do it for a living, but I don't do YouTube for a living. It's just more to have an audience to sell stuff to. That's why I do it, and that was my whole intention from the very beginning. I think, though, that landscape photography or nature photography, there is only so much you can talk about. I mean, I think I mentioned this last week, when I was in the gardening magazine, there is only so much you can talk about before you start repeating yourself over and over again. And for the last several years now doing YouTube, I mean, how many times do I have to talk about a polarizer or using a tripod a certain way? So I think it comes down to engagement with your audience and coming up with a story that perhaps doesn't actually relate to photography, but it leads up to the photography. Kind of like what Tom does. He's great at telling a story, but it's not really about the photography. It's about the journey or wherever it may be, like when he drove to Iceland or wherever. Or with Gavin, you know, his whole shtick is his comedy. It's just entertainment. Whereas I just feel like I'm repeating myself over and over again. But that's what I enjoy. I enjoy the photography. I don't enjoy the videos so much. So that's why I've cut back on. And my channel has suffered for it, but I don't actually care that much.
Do you subscribe to Tom's newsletter at all? Because
no, I don't.
So he put out this week actually that he is going to have a break over Christmas, and it's the first time he's had a break from YouTube. And I don't know how long he's been doing it now, 6 or 8 years, you know, kind of like. But this is the first time he's had a break from it. But he was also quite concerned about the algorithm. And two things there. I'm really pleased that he is taking a break, because I do watch Tom, and I do wonder, kind of, you know, he's away like an awful lot, and how he juggles his work life, you know, and obviously his family life, you know, because he has to constantly put out this content, and he puts out some great content. But it's, to me, what looked like fun in the beginning, documenting, you know, throwing a tent up on the side of a fell and all this kind of, to now going further afield and being away from home longer and longer, and churning out these videos seemed quite rude. I didn't mean that, but putting these videos out constantly, that must be exhausting, absolutely exhausting. You know, so I'm pleased that he's taking a break for his own health. But it was funny how he's also worried about the algorithm. I mean, these are his words, because this is in his newsletter. And I thought, once you've got a channel the size of his, surely you wouldn't be worrying about the algorithm for a fortnight.
Yeah, but Tom does rely on YouTube, as Adam was saying. You know, maybe YouTube isn't hugely important only to sell to his audience, but Tom relies on YouTube for a lot of his income, doesn't he? You know,
because Tom doesn't do workshops very rarely. So it's all income from YouTube and sponsorship, all of it. Selling calendars, I think that's a big thing for him. But of course, now all photographers are selling calendars. That's why I'm not selling calendars this year. It has a time limit. As soon as you get to January 1st, that's it. They're like 60% off. And I thought, well, why would I sell calendars if everybody else is doing it? You need to do something different. What that is, I don't know, because everybody, someone will come up with a really good idea, and then everybody will jump on that bandwagon and copy that idea.
Absolutely.
But I think I still think YouTube's viable. I mean, lately I've been trying to search out smaller channels, like Lynn was mentioning. There's a lot of people out there that have very small followings, but they're good channels, I just don't know how they can get more of an audience. I'm not sure how that. I mean, I lucked out because I teamed up with Gavin, and then I got involved with Tom and Nick, so that helped a huge amount. So I say to other people that probably the best thing, if you do want to grow as a channel, is to collaborate. That's probably the best thing you can do, is collaborate with as many other YouTubers as possible, or photographers. I mean, that's why I met up with Henry, and whoever wants to meet up, I'm game for it, because it all helps.
The thing is these days, because maybe it's just vloggers' view of it, but I certainly have the view of it, that you get a lot of people want to come on YouTube and they want to grow their channel very rapidly, and they jump on that collaboration, as you say, Adam, and they try and use brands and they try and push things, and it just becomes too salesy. It's not about watching them in their own environment and looking at their local area and seeing what their photography is like and watching a story. It's about trying to sell, or trying to become bigger, or trying to big themselves up that puts me completely off. If I want to watch a small channel, I want to watch a small channel because I'm just interested in them as a person, or their local environment, or some of the photography they're putting out, not about them trying to big themselves up and become a big star. And I think that's sometimes YouTube, you can fall into that YouTube black hole of trying to be a big star and trying to collaborate and be the best buddy for somebody just to get your views up. And it's annoying, really. And people see through that. And I think it's quite disconcerting when you've got that type of person, really, that does that type of thing.
Yeah, I definitely think that if you get in it just to make money and be a big YouTuber or whatever, I think that's definitely the wrong way to go around it. And let's I mean, even Tom's channel, he has a lot of subscribers, but in the YouTube world, his channel is actually quite small. Because landscape photography is not it's not a big draw,
It's a tiny little world, isn't it?
If you want to be a big if you want to be a big YouTuber, I wouldn't get into landscape photography. I would get into playing with kids' toys or I mean, those
video
are the big
games.
channels. Yeah, video games. I mean, those are the big channels, not landscape photography. I mean, it's just a tiny niche,
Well, Jamie, there's definitely a market on TikTok for you dancing as an elf.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, that's the sad part of it is, you try. I mean, if you do want to grow as a channel, then it just seems the more outrageous things you do, the more views you're going to get. But
this was kind of at the root of what I was saying in my video, is that I just wish the platform would do a better job. And it's not just YouTube, but all social media platforms are like this, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. They're all just purely engagement driven. And it's this like snowball effect. And you just wish that the platform would do a slightly better job of dispersing the views out and not, it's, I think it boils down to what your intent is. Like we're saying, if your intent is to grow, then there's a very clear sort of tick box list of things that you have to do that. And if you're just out there to just enjoy it, then your channel's probably not going to grow that well. I just wish that this is a bit idealistic, but I just wish there was a middle ground there for the platform that people could just go out and enjoy it and produce nice videos. And also get a little bit back from the platform as well. But that's not exclusive to YouTube. It's like that on a lot of platforms now.
My biggest issue has always been, and people always think that I'm a bit maybe cynical about this, and I am to a point. But I got no issue with, say, like Adam's just said, I have my YouTube channel to generate business, right? But Adam, without me, blowing smoke, is a fantastic photographer, right? So I've got absolutely no issue. Same with you, Stu. Same with everyone here. I've got no issue with you guys going on, pushing YouTube as hard as you can to generate business. My issue I've always had with these smaller channels, like Jamie said, when it's sell, sell, sell. If you want to sell, then have a product. If you're a good photographer, great, go for it, push it, do what you want. But there's too many at the moment who are not good photographers, who don't produce good quality images and don't have the ability to teach others to produce good quality images, who have got very good at pushing the YouTube algorithm and pushing themselves, and have got themselves into positions where they're running workshops or whatever when they're not that good. I mean, I have a running thing, myself and Alan Coles, we have conversations probably once every month, and he'll go, have you seen this person? And I'll go, oh yeah. Like there's this one guy, I won't name him. He started showing up on Twitter about 6 months ago, and he was all over Twitter, all messaging, like interacting with all the bigger photographers. And then he started a YouTube channel, and I said to Alan, I'll give him maybe 6 or 7 videos, and he'll have a workshop. He'll be running workshops, and lo and behold, 6 or 7 videos in, I'm now running workshops, and his photography doesn't merit that level of what he's trying to achieve. And that's where my issue is with it. I think that if you want to push yourself, fine, but push yourself.
I think the thing is though, Gary, you just have to ignore those people and just concentrate on what you're doing.
Because
can't help it. I just can't help it.
But it's not just photography, it's with anything. I mean, life is just unfair, but you just have to stay focused on what you're doing and what you can offer, not what other people are doing and what they can't offer. There's a lot of bad artists out there, but unfortunately, that's the way the world works. And there's a lot of exceptional photographers out there that don't get the light of day. It's really unfortunate. And because they don't know how to promote themselves, or they don't want to. They're just so focused on their art. And I mean, for the longest time, when I first started, I thought, I'm a brilliant photographer. Someone's going to discover me, and I'm going to do great. It just doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. You have to really push your stuff.
If you're a professional photographer, perhaps on YouTube, there's probably that fine line of promoting yourself up to that line and perhaps not promoting yourself like every single week that it becomes, I'm going to click on this video and it's going to be a huge sales pitch every single week. I'm glad that, and going back to Tom, what Tom has to do constantly, kind of week after week after week, year after year. I'm not envious of you guys that rely on that aspect to earn your living, because I know for me that would be mentally exhausting. It really would.
Yeah. Well, I've often said to people it's more of a lifestyle than a career choice. I mean, it's before I was a photographer, I taught rock climbing. I taught rock climbing for quite a few years. And I lived on the floor of a climbing shop. That's where I lived. I mean, did it bother me? Not at all. Because at that time I was only in my 20s. But it wasn't about the money. It was just being outside. And now it's the same, except, obviously I've grown a little bit, and I realize that I do have to make money, especially since I'll be 60 next year. I can't do this forever, so, anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. No, yeah. No,
but I think Jamie's right, is that some YouTubers, they concentrate too much on the selling aspect of things. And I do some of that, but you have to do some to actually make a bit of a living. And your audience do complain about it, but they have to realize that YouTube does not pay enough to make a living. It doesn't even pay for the gas to get to the locations, So you have to.
But I think it's I would say it's excusable, but it's defensible if you've got a YouTube channel for a profession like Tom and professional photographers like you and Stu that rely on publicity to give them potential income. I think it's quite warranted that you'd want to try and use that channel to promote your goods and services. The thing that gets me is that when you've got the amateurs that are just coming on, like me, I've got a day job, and trying to use YouTube to sell something to promote yourself, where it's so obvious that you're doing it just to try and promote yourself and your own channel rather than trying to promote your business because you rely on it for your income. As I say, I think if it is your income, then absolutely no problem at all. That's what you have to do to earn a living. We all got to earn a living, but it's it's sort of giving that false impression of yourself. Really, that's the thing that winds me up.
Thing is with some of this as well, though, it ties in a little bit with what we were saying last week. I know you weren't on last week, Jamie, but we were saying about love of the landscape. And this thing that you're talking about there, it's not just limited to YouTube. You see it on Instagram and Twitter and all sorts of other places where people are, they're very pushing the self-promotion element of it. And those people generally don't last. They end up, quitting YouTube, or they end up quitting photography entirely because they're not getting the traction or whatever, but they're not willing to put the groundwork in to start with to get to a point where you can then do all that with a good conscience, because like we were saying earlier, you're actually providing some value, be it teaching or your prints or whatever it is, but you've achieved a certain level of competence and skill that you can justify some of that to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a world now where people just want to cut out a lot of that and skip all them steps and just jump straight ahead to the sort of the selling and the benefit side of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things. Sorry, go on, Adam.
Oh no, finish what you were saying.
Well, I mean, it's probably a wider point, but I mean, there's a lot of things that happen now in landscape photography that are kind of, you know, reflective of, I think anyway, reflective of society in general, in that people care a lot less about doing some of those things. A lot of things that, you know, even probably 5-6 years ago would have been frowned upon in terms of, you know, promoting yourself or promoting certain things now are just total commonplace. They're just no one bats an eyelid to them anymore. So you will see a lot more of that now than you probably did a little time ago. But it's not just a YouTube problem. I think you'll see that in any type of social media.
But on another note, before we wrap up, because been going quite a while. So am I the only person here who watches things just because they like to be annoyed?
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
People out there, do you not do that? Do you not find that I've got loads of channels on YouTube I watch because I want to be annoyed by them? Is that bad? I don't know. Is that wrong?
I think so.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not normal.
Okay.
No, it's not normal.
No, is it not? I kind of get like a bit of enjoyment out of the outrage of it. I'm like, you know, there'll be people that I'll go, I'm never watching them again, and then next week I'm like, right, let's see what they're doing this week, so I can get wound up by it. Okay.
I think
maybe it's just
the one thing I have a hard time understanding is when you'll have someone start up a YouTube channel, and they're obviously an amateur, but I'm trying to understand why are they doing YouTube? Like if they enjoy it, then I get it. If they really enjoy doing the video, then yes. But if they're just doing it to try and get views or whatever, that's the part I don't understand, because they're not offering anything to the table that hasn't been done a million times before. Like you have to offer something that people are really going to be excited about or engaged about, right? Like pretty much every channel now, they all say, well, now I'm going to go through my composition, which is what I do. But are people really interested? I don't know if they are. I think it's kind of like, oh God, here we go again. Someone's going to talk about their composition. Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I find it weird.
Yeah.
Like, why would you start up a YouTube channel? Like, why not just concentrate on the photography and just forget about YouTube? But
this is the point though, Adam, isn't it? Because photography is hard, right? Becoming good at photography is not easy for a lot of people. It's a long, painstaking process of going out, practicing, you know, failing, coming back until you get good at it. Whereas you go on YouTube, you can mask all that with a good personality or a bit of bullshit. So you can go on YouTube and you can have the bluster and, oh, I'm great at this and I'm great at that, and watch this. And it's easy to copy as well. Like you go out and take a photograph. If you're not technically proficient, it's quite hard to copy good work. Whereas if you go out on YouTube, it's quite easy to copy someone else's formula, like you said, of here's my competition, here's this, here's that, here's me walking slowly past the camera, here's me doing this, here's a bit of drone work, and here's me, and then come on a workshop with me. Whereas if they went on, let's say they bypassed YouTube and went Twitter, Instagram, whatever, Flickr, whatever, people would look at their work and go, yeah, it's not very good. But you can fool people on YouTube because a lot of people maybe.
Yeah, but that's the thing. There's some people that, you know, you see these people coming into YouTube and going, right, I'm going to be a professional photographer, I'm going to run workshops. And they genuinely have no idea how many workshops you've got to sell in a year to even make, you know, a reasonable living at it. I run a lot of workshops alongside running a gallery as my base income, but I wouldn't dream of trying to just do it off running workshops alone. It just wouldn't be viable.
Talking about that, Stuart, have you got any workshops at the moment you've got spaces for, just out of interest?
I have one space left. on a Lofoten trip.
Where's that at?
Lofoten trip into.
Oh, Lofoten. That sounds good, doesn't it? Oh, that sounds really nice, Stuart.
It's
One
nice.
space,
Very
Get
nice.
in there before it goes.
Yeah. Get in there quick. Christmas present.
Yeah.
I'll have some commission on that.
I have some spaces left on my workshops if anybody's interested.
Oh, do you? Sorry, Adam. Where are your workshops?
Actually, I have one in if you're Carmena Provincial Park on the island here. It's last year's was the first year I did it. It was amazing. The problem is that you're roughing it, so it's a hard sell because it's a lot of money for sleeping in a tent and using an outhouse. But it's an amazing place. So if you're interested, links down below.
Absolutely.
Link below.
Link
below.
Link in the description.
Yeah.
He knows the formula.
Jamie, Daz, Sam, you got any workshops running at the moment that you want to sell for?
No. Funnily enough, no.
No, me neither. So yeah, I think we'll wrap it up because we've been going quite a long time. But before we go, we did have another topic that we're not going to talk about, but we're going to open this up to you guys because I think this will be really interesting. So basically, I can't remember who put this in. Who put this one in about the replacements?
Me.
You remember? Was it you? So Daz put this in. Actually, Gary Stone added a bit to this as well. So basically, if we were replaced, and you can add Adam in on this as well. So the six of us, Dave as well, and then Adam. If we were to be replaced on the Pubcast, which photographer would you like to see replace us? And someone who's, let's say, similar to us, to each of us. And then also someone famous. Who would you have famous replace us? And someone who's got similar traits to us, maybe looks like us. I don't know. No Russell Grant for me, please. So yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, then put it in the comments. That'd be fantastic, and maybe it'll be something we'll discuss after Christmas. But we want to say thank you very much. We hope you've had a fantastic year. I don't think we're back into a new year.
Can I just raise a glass because I'm the only one with a glass as it's Christmas, And listen. First of all, to absent friends, that aren't here with us tonight. This Christmas is a time for families, and we've got to think about families this time of year. So, to absent friends and families, and it's been a tough year for many people. So let's all have a fantastic Christmas and a great New Year. Cheers, everybody.
Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you for that, Jamie, and thanks for coming as an elf.
No problem. Anytime at Christmas, you know where I am.
It's been lovely, and we hope you all have a very lovely Christmas and a very happy New Year, and we'll see you all in the new year.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.